Howdy, 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 it's Kyle here, and for my book review today I'll be focusing on a book a little bit different than ones I've in past. It's Zen and the Art of Writing by Ray Bradbury. This book is aimed towards people who actually want to become a writer themselves. So basically it's a little book Ray Bradbury put together with some tips and suggestions on how to be a better writer. He does this in two ways. One, he talks about his own experience being an author, how he developed ideas for various books, screenplays he wrote for movies. So this is how his experience was, and what he's learned from that, mistakes he's made, techniques he learned to help him come up with ideas or develop things. And at the same time, he focuses a lot of parts of the book about encouraging the author to find their own identity. In this book, he's not really saying, this is the way Ray Bradbury became a successful author, and you have to do this. This is the only way you can become a writer. He's just kind of using this, here's a little guide how I did it. Now it's important to find your own voice, your own path to being a successful writer. It's all about finding what works for you. So I'd say if you're interested in being a writer, it's a great book to pick up. Ray Bradbury is, one of the most critically acclaimed and successful authors in modern American literary history. So, I mean, who better to get some writing tips from than Ray Bradbury? And I thought I'd read the names of the chapters. I just thought they were kind of give you an idea of what the book's about. Chapter 1 is The Joy of Writing. Chapter 2 is Run Fast and Stand Still, or The Thing at the Top of the Stairs, or New Ghosts from Old Minds. Chapter 3 is How to Keep and Find a Muse. Chapter 4, which is probably my favorite chapter title of any book ever, Drunk and in Charge of a Bicycle. Chapter 5 is Investing Dimes, Fahrenheit 451. What that chapter is about, he wrote Fahrenheit 451 at a college library, and he had to basically rent a typewriter, and he had to pay through dimes. So he wrote, one of the most successful books in American history through dimes. So that's a pretty interesting story. The next chapter was This Side of Byzantine, Dandelion Wine. The next chapter was On the Shoulders of Giants. Then there's The Secret Mind, Zen and the Art of Writing, and the final chapter is On Creativity. So I'd highly encourage you to give this book a read if you're interested in being a writer. If you're not interested in being a writer and you're a Ray Bradbury fan, I'd encourage you to check it out as well, because it's somewhat of a biography, been a long day, on his Ray Bradbury's career, so you can get some interesting insights on his background. So I really enjoyed it, partly for that reason. As anybody that watched the last video that I was posted on this channel, you're aware that the next couple months, all people that are reviewed for this channel will be mentioning some of their favorite children's books. So I thought I'd mention my favorite book when I was a kid, Stone Fox by John Reynolds Gardner. I read this book in the 3rd or 4th grade. I couldn't remember exactly when, but sometime around there. It's one of those times, the teacher assigned everybody to do a book report, and there was a bookcase in their class with books, and you're supposed to go there and pick one out. And I picked out this book called Stone Fox because the title just sounded weird, and there was a cool-looking picture on the front of the cover. I can't remember what it was now, but I just thought, oh, this looks interesting. And before that, I've been reading, but it's mainly, little small books, stuff like Dr. Seuss, little. I don't think I could really remember reading a book that had a real, true, defined story to it, almost like a youth novel or a kid novel. And Stone Fox was very much that, as a novel that was aimed for kids that are around 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. They were just starting out to read. Love this book. It's one of the first books, too, I can remember just reading over and over and over again. The basic plot is there's a 10-year-old kid named Willie who lives with his granddad in a farm. And his granddad has some health problems. I think he has a stroke, if I remember right. So he's not able to keep up with the farm, which leads to some trouble. They start falling behind on the taxes on the farm. So Willie and his grandfather are really worried they're going to lose this farm, and they're not sure what would happen to them if they lose this farm. And plus, they love the farm. They want to stay there. So Willie develops a plan, and basically his plan develops around his dog, Searchlight. I can't remember exact details of how Willie gets Searchlight, but they become best friends. He loves the dog. Think of if you've ever seen the movie Old Yeller, it's a lot the same relationship between the dog in that movie and the kid is very similar to the Willie and Searchlight in the book Stone Fox, but he just loves this dog. This dog's his best friend in the world. In the town he lives in, there's a big dog sled race every year. Huge race, and there's a big cash prize. And, just like one of those typical things like you see in Disney movies, the cash prize matched up with how much back taxes they owed. So as a kid, you didn't really notice that, but now you think, oh, that's a little corny. But it's still, as a kid, you don't really notice that. So, but the one issue that Willie has is all the other dog sleds in this race have big teams, like 6, 8 dogs, and they're professional dog sledders. The person that wins every year is this Native American mountain man, as they describe him, named Stone Fox. And he has this big team of, 6 to 8, really professional sled dogs. He just wins the race every year easily, just destroys everybody else. And everybody just thinks Stone Fox is unbeatable. He's one of these, very stoic mountain men. He never shows any expression on his face. He has a little bit of a scary vibe to you, like he might, if you cross him, he might kill you or something. He's presented as this real mysterious and dangerous man. And here's Willie, a little 10-year-old boy, and all he has is one dog, and he has to go up against these professional dog sledders. So Willie kind of develops a plan. He runs the course every day with Searchlight. He actually finds a strategy to win. And I'd say if you want to read the book and you don't want me to spoil the plot, stop watching the video right now. But basically, Willie figures out that at one point on the course, where they make this long loop around a frozen lake, that if he cuts across the lake, he can shave off a good part of the course and get ahead of the other racers. And there's nothing illegal about it. It's not stated he can't go across the lake. It's just everybody just always assumed that was too dangerous to go across a frozen lake, that he'd crash through. But Willie thinks, he might be able to make it because he only has one dog with him. He's like a little kid where all the other racers are adults, so he's not going to weigh as much. So he takes his chance, and him and Searchlight, they go full out. Searchlight's just putting it all out there. They get across the lake barely, if I remember right. The lake almost, the ice on the lake almost crashes through, and Willie almost dies. But he makes it through the lake. He's beating Stone Fox, and when they come down the final straightaway into town where the race ends, he looks like he's going to win, and then all at once, Searchlight falls over. And it turns out, Searchlight was just running so hard that basically his heart just exploded because he was just barely ahead of Stone Fox. So Searchlight was just putting it all out there to help Willie win, and then the dog died. And of course, as a little kid, that was very, very sad. But then the good twist on the book is, everybody in the town is just shocked. They saw, their town kid who was fixing to win the race. They were just cheering like crazy, and then the dog died. And everybody knew how much Willie loved this dog, and Willie's just crying over the dog, and everybody in town's just shocked, nobody's saying a word. And then Stone Fox, he stops his sled. He doesn't go on to win, and he kind of looks, and throughout the book, I think Willie's kind of gained Stone Fox's respect by how he's went about training for the race, and how he almost won the race before his dog died. So Stone Fox gets Willie to pick up the dog, and they walk across the finish line so Willie can win the race and win the cash prizes. So, as a little kid, I absolutely love that book. I don't know how many times I read that book. It had to be 10 or 15 times. I don't have a copy anymore, so I can't show you what it looks like, but I'd say, if you have some, younger siblings or cousins or something, or if you would like to give it a read, it's definitely a great book. Again, the name of the book is Stone Fox by John Reynolds Gardner. And again, the other book I reviewed was Ray Bradbury, The Zen and the Art of Writing. Hope you enjoyed the video.